जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा पदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा श्रील गुरुदेवा देवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा श्रील गुरुदेवा किब जयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा 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 जानावी तातावाने जगमन लोबा जानावी तातावाने जगमन लोबा किबा दाखिननिताय चान वामे गदाधारा दाखिननिताय चान वामे गदाधारा निकाते अद्वैताश्रीनि वास छत्रधारा निका किबा बोशियाचे गौराचान रत्ना सिंहासने बोशियाचे गौराचान रत्ना सिंहासने किबा बोशियाचे गौराचान रत्ना सिंहासने याचे गौराचान रत्ना सिंहासने आरती कोरे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने की बनर हरियादि कोरी चामर दुलाया नर की बनर हरि आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया नर हरि आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया संजया मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया किबा शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे किब शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला माधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे ओ शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे ओ शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे ओ माधुर 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 बाजे ओ माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर ओ शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे हो माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर ओ गौरंगेरा रति के शोभा जग जन माना लोबा जग जन मान लोबा गौरंगेरा रति के शोभा जग जन मान लोबा लोबा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानि जय गौरानिताय 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 ओ जय गौरा चंदेर गौरा चंदेर गौरा चंदेर जय गौरा चंदेर कि बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला कि बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला कि बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला गला दे से बनमाला कोरे जलमाला गला देते जलमाला किव शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा किव शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा शिवा सुखा नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरा रसंपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरा रसंपादा कि बजयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा जयो आरती के शोभा जानाविता तावाने जग मन लोभा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय गौर भक्त वृंद गौर भक्त वृंद गौर भक्त ओ गौर भक्त वृंद गौर भक्त वृंद गौर भक्त वृंद श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद श्री ओ गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो ओ गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो ओ गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो 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 ओ गोविंद 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 बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो राधा गोविंद बोलो हो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो राधा हरि गोविंद बोलो ओ राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधे राधे ओ कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा ओ राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधे ओ राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो राधा हो गोविंद जय बोलो गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद हो गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय बोलो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा ओ राधे 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 ओ राधे 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 ओ राधे 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 ओ राधे 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 ओ राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो राधा रमन ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे बोलो बोलो ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे ओ हरे राम राम हरे हरे ओ हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः यादवाय नमः गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन ओ गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन गोपाल गिरिधरि गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन गिरिधरि नाथ मदन मोहन ओ मदन मोहन ओ मदन मोहन गिरिधरि गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो बोलो ओ श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत सीता श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद अद्वैत सीता हरि गुरु वैष्णव भगवत गीता हरि गुरु ओ श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री रूप रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गो जय राधा नील माधव श्री राधे ओ ओ जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला प्रभुपदा ओ जय गुरुदेवा 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 श्रीला गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा श्रीला गुरुदेवा। एवरीवन प्लीज बो डाउन। जय ओम विष्णुपदा परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपद परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय द्वेदा गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे all grace to the assembled devotees, all grace to the assembled devotees, all grace to the assembled devotees, all grace to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all grace to Srila Prabhupada ki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlad Lad Daine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye 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 Ito Narsimha Pareto Narsimha O Narsimha Pareto Narsimha Yato yato yamitato narsimha Yato yato yamitato narsimha Bahir narsimha hridaye narsimha Hir narsimha hridaye narsimha Narasimha adhima sharanam prapade nar तव कर कमलावरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगाम केशवद्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलावरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगाम केशवद्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
अद्भुत श्रृंगारा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवद्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे
जय केशवद्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे।
जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे।
ओ जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव, जय नरसिंह देव। जय प्रहलाद महाराज, प्रहलाद महाराज, भक्त प्रहलाद, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, प्रहलाद महाराज, प्रहलाद महाराज, भक्त प्रहलाद, जय प्रहलाद महाराज। हो जय जगन्नाथा, जय बलदेवा, जय सुभद्रा माँ, जय सुदर्शन चक्र,
जय देवा, जय सुभद्रा माँ, जय सुदर्शन चक्र। राम जय सीताराम, राम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान, जय सीताराम, जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान, जय सीताराम, जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान। प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा। गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल। गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल।
बोल हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल। जय विघ्नहर्ता श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की। बोल प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि हरि। हरे कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे राम, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे, कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Are you happy? That's the question. One time I was with Prabhupada and he looked at the devotees and he said, "Are you happy?" And one person went like that. And Prabhupada said, you're not happy? Mm. He said, you must be happy. If you're actually chanting Hare Krishna, you have to be happy. He said, then there is some fault. You're not following properly. So that's a fact. If you chant Hare Krishna, you must be happy because you're chanting the holy names of the Lord. You're not committing any sinful activities. And you're learning wonderful things about who Krishna is on a regular basis. So we should be happy. So today we're going to hear some things about Krishna. This is from the 6th chapter, text 47. Yoginam apisarvesam madgatanatratprana shadavam bhajate yomam samayuktatamo matak. And this says, and of all yogis, the one with great faith who abides in me thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. One can avoid worshiping a respectable man of a demigod, and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do so, he falls down. The Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 3rd verse, confirms this as follows. Ya esam purusham sakshad atma prabhavan swanam, and so forth. Na bhajate avigyanti stanat brastaha patant adha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primal Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. What is the constitutional position? Well, you've heard about the Constitution of the United States. So what is that? The Constitution of the United States defines what are the powers of the government, what the government can do, and what the government can't do. So when it says the constitutional position of a living entity, because we all come from Krishna, our constitutional position is to serve Krishna, because we belong to him. We all are meant to serve the Lord. That's what our real purpose in life is. And if we ignore that, then we unnecessarily suffer. That's why there's so much suffering in this world. And if we think about it, It's much easier to worship Krishna than to suffer. It's much easier to follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness than not to follow them. So we have to say, what am I really meant to do in life? We have to ask that question. What's my real purpose in life? Well, according to our acharyas, the real purpose in life is to attain love of God by service, seva. Seva means that you actually have some love for God, and the more you engage in that seva, the more you manifest your loving propensity for God or for Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to read some of this verse, this purport, because it's very good. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. Okay. So constitutional position, as I said, we're all meant to serve Krishna because we all came from Krishna. Krishna is the original father of all living entities. So therefore, our constitutional position is to be engaged in serving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse also, the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word, let me see, abhajananti, used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Abhajananti mam mudha manasim tanam asritaha. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga, though this is interesting, let's just stop here and discuss this a little bit. Nowadays, if you go to a yoga teacher, in the beginning they usually say, this yoga is not spiritual. It's only for improving your health. They say it openly. We're not teaching a spiritual yoga, but yoga means connecting yourself to God. So they shouldn't call it yoga. They can call it, nonsense or something like that, but it's not yoga. Real yoga is connecting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the purpose of it. It's not to have, strong abs or strong muscles or anything like that. So we see how things are so watered down and lacking the original intent of the word due to lazy people or people who are basically don't believe in God. So today the tendency is to have a good life without God and to live without God, to study without God, to be successful without God. So this attempt to eliminate knowledge of God and just depend on science and intelligence and so forth, artificial intelligence and so forth. In other words, they come to a point where they think, well, we don't need God because we can do everything God is supposed to do by our artificial intelligence and our own, intelligence and our own, let's say, our own research. So that is based on a real inflated false ego. People are engaging in all kinds of ridiculous statements like there's no God, you don't need God, it's only superstition to believe in God. And they're trying to create a godless civilization. Now that's dangerous because you should fear that person who doesn't fear God, because that means that person can do anything without having any remorse, right? So whenever there's like a murderer, after a murderer goes to the trial, and in the end, it's established without any doubt that he murdered someone, and now he's going to be sentenced. And they ask him, they usually ask the people who are the relatives of the person that was murdered, they give them a chance to speak to the murderer and address the murderer. And then after that, the murderer is given a chance to speak to the relatives of the person that was murdered. And sometimes the murderer says, "I'm really sorry, I don't know why I did it, I was having a bad day, blah, blah, blah," right? But there are some murderers that say, "I'm glad I did it, and I'd do it again if I get a chance." So, you see, being in a court is a very strange thing. It's a strange atmosphere, being in a court of law, where you have lawyers, that are on one side and lawyers on the other side, and then you have a judge. And the judge has got to make a decision, right? Sometimes you only have the judge that makes a decision, and sometimes you have the judge and a jury that have to make a decision. And sometimes the juries have made decisions and the judge has annulled it because he thinks that they made a mistake, right? Those are exceptional conditions, but it happens sometimes. If the judge thinks the jury made a mistake, he just annuls their decision and he makes his own decision. So we can see how all of us are going to be judged for what we do in our life. We can be judged by coworkers. We can be judged by our CEO. We can be judged by our wife or our husband, and so forth. So judgment is something that should have, let's say, an explanation. If you just make a whimsical decision, that's not fair. It's got to be some substantive reason why there's a judgment of a person. You can't just say, "I'm going to judge you because that's my whim today," to judge anybody I see. So, what are those perimeters, or what are those? What's the basis of judgment? Well, the first thing is this person telling the truth or are they lying? Oftentimes, people that commit crimes, they're good liars. And they say, "I didn't do it." And then the police have to, they make a case to prove that this person actually did the crime. And sometimes it's very difficult because there are no witnesses to the crime. And they have to come up with circumstantial evidence that this person actually committed the crime. So you see, in the world today, there's so many crimes being committed. We're seeing crimes right now in the way the Israelis are killing the Palestinians. It is a slaughter. But and the United States is involved in it because they're supplying all the weapons and high-powered bombs and so forth to the Israelis to kill the Palestinians. So you don't have to go into history to see what's called, a massacre. It's going on right now in front of our eyes, and very few people are saying anything. So this has happened throughout history when there are powerful countries and they get into a war and they start killing a lot of people. And by the way, real problems are never solved by killing people. Adversaries believe that by killing people they can solve a problem, but actually it doesn't, because new generations come up over time, and then the animosity is still there, the hatred is still there, and there can be war again in different generations. So the best thing is for people not to try and solve problems through war, to try and solve problems by negotiation, by making some, let's say, a deal, just like, Trump makes deals, good deals, right? So it'd be better to solve problems by making deals rather than making by making war. Sometimes it's impossible to make a deal because people are hell-bent on having a war. That's what happened in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Lord Krishna himself went to Duryodhana and his father, and I wouldn't say begged, but almost begged them, look, you just give the Pandavas one village east, that's it, and they'll be happy, and there won't be any war. And Duryodhana said, I won't even give them a pin measure of any property. Well, that's what you would call complete disregard for for Krishna. I mean, the Pandavas weren't begging him. Krishna was basically begging him. Let's not have a war. Just give each one of the sons one village, and they'll be satisfied. And he said, I won't even give them a pin of territory. So you see how there's some people that they're basically crazy, and they have tremendous false egos, and they cannot do anything that makes sense. They make nonsensical decisions. Just like the war between Ukraine and Russia is a nonsensical war because there was no necessity to have that war. Now, by the way, who organizes such wars where a lot of people die? Krishna. Because he's having demons on both sides to kill each other, to lessen the burden of demons in the world, So when you look at the war, Ukraine and Russia, there are a lot of people have died in this war. In any war, a lot of people die, usually. So there was one time a Roman general had quite an army, and they had been defeated previously by this one country, and so they built up a much bigger army, and now they were ready to attack the people that defeated them before. And the general of the people that had previously defeated the Romans, but now they were faced with a huge army that the Romans came back with. the leader of the army uh, asked to have a discussion with the leader of the Roman army. And in that discussion, he said, "Look, uh, you can take me as prisoner. You can kill me if you want, but I don't want to have war with you guys anymore. And I want to, spare my my soldiers. They'll put down their guns and everything, or they put down their swords, and you can kill me, or judge me and hang me, or whatever you want to do. And we don't want to have war." Now that was an intelligent thing to do. Why? Because he didn't want to see all these men slaughtered. Now, that was when war was a little bit more, let's say, based on principles. The principles were only warriors would fight each other. Nowadays, it's worse. It's the worst thing in the world. All kinds of people are being killed that are not warriors. And they're just ordinary people, and they're being killed by one army or the other army. So when you look at what's happening today between Ukraine and the Russians, there was a completely it's a completely unnecessary war. All the Russians were telling the West and the Ukrainians, look, just don't become part of NATO, and there won't be any reason for a war. We don't want to have NATO in Ukraine because Ukraine has a long and a big number of a big border with Russia. The border is hundreds of miles, right? And Russia did not want to have, the UN, not UN, but the UN bombs and tanks and everything right on their border, right? So all they had to do is say, okay, well, Ukraine will remain a neutral country and will not, have all these armaments on the Russian border, and we'll live in peace. But no, the Americans have pushed the Ukrainians since 2014 to prepare themselves to fight the Russians. So basically, what this battle is between the Ukrainians and the Russians is a proxy war of the United States with the Russians. But the American soldiers are not involved in it. It's the Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian people that are involved in it. So this is like really nasty type of manipulation of a whole country. There's no reason for Ukraine to be in a war with Russia. Now, people say, no, we want to have an independent country, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you declare yourself to be neutral and you mean it, then there's no reason for your country to be, to go to war. Because you're saying, look, we don't have armaments, we're not interested in increasing the amount of property that we have. We just want to be neutral, And so this is what Switzerland has done for a long time. Even in World War II, when the Nazis, Germany was right next to Switzerland, but the Nazis never invaded Switzerland. There was no reason for it because they were completely neutral. If they wanted to, and also they were using Switzerland to hide things that they had stolen and money that they had stolen and things like that. But still, they never invaded that country, although it's right next to Germany. But they invaded France, they invaded many European countries, but they left the Swiss people alone. So it's very interesting to see how politics evolves and how people get involved in wars. But it's not a nice thing to see. It's not the nice thing to experience. I mean, war is hell. if you want to really suffer, you be part of a war, and you'll see so many people dying, so many things being blown up, and especially today. And every day you look at the newspapers and it says, well, the Russians sent 100 drones and 5 people died, right? And one building was destroyed, and then vice versa, the Ukrainians sent drones, and so many Russian people died. So nowadays you have this thing, a drone just flying in the air, right? And it's frightening for people, because you know what that sound is now. It's a drone, and you're not sure where it's going to land, right? So it's a very dangerous type of warfare. All types of warfare are dangerous, but the drone warfare is really dangerous because you hear that sound and you know, oh, I could die, like that. You know how frightening it can be. So, what are we going to do about this? Well, we have to understand who Krishna is. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He controls everything. And if we become a devotee of the Lord and actually engage in devotional service, Krishna is promising us that he will protect us. Konteya pratijanihi, nami bhakta pranashyati. Declare it loudly, Arjuna, that my devotees will never perish. So Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he put that to a test. In World War II, the Japanese were throwing bombs on Calcutta, and people were dying. And also, there was well, let's forget about the Japanese. In World War II, the British caused an artificial famine in Bengal. The British were expert at that. They did that to the Irish, and that's why there's so many Irish people in the United States. A lot of them left Ireland and came to the United States because they were starving, and the British cut off all lines of getting food, and so a lot of Irish people died, and a lot of Irish people left Ireland. So the same thing was happening again in India, in Bengal, when the British were created an artificial famine so that Bengali men would not join the Liberation Army and fight against them. And they would be forced to keep working and maintaining their families and not get involved in war. Well, such tactics are really mean when you create an artificial famine. So at that time, Prabhupada was going around to all the Vaishnavas when this famine was started by the British, and there were people dying in the streets in Calcutta. So he wanted to see if it's actually a fact that Krishna protects his devotees, because Krishna says, Konteya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranashyati, declare it loudly, my dear devotees, that my devotees will never perish. Well, he did. He went around to the houses of different Vaishnavas that he knew, and he asked them, how's everything going? And they said, thank God, thank Krishna, we are somehow or other existing. And he saw that in some mysterious way, all the Vaishnava families were not suffering like the other families in Bengal, and somehow or other they were being mysteriously protected. So, and why did he do that? He wanted to see if what Krishna says is actually factual. Konteha pratijanihi nami bhakta pranasati, declare it loudly that my devotee will never perish. So we have to have that faith, uh, and also the proof of Prabhupada's research that devotees will be protected by the mercy of Krishna even in the worst situations. So then what are we supposed to do? All you have to do is just be a good devotee. Chant Hare Krishna and follow the regulative principles. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This is not an ordinary mantra. This is Maha Mantra, the greatest of all mantras. If you chant Hare Krishna, you come directly in contact with Krishna himself. Because Krishna is not a material person. Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. He's already in our hearts, but he becomes more endearing when we chant his holy names and we follow his simple directions. What are simple directions? 4 things you shouldn't do and 4 things you should do. That's called yamas and niyamas. So give up meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and take up chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eat only prasadam, food, vegetarian food that has been offered with love and devotion to the deities that you should have, which means you should have a little altar in your house. You should have deities in your house. You should offer the food to them, and then if you do it sincerely, they offer it back to you as prasadam. Therefore, we should only eat prasadam. Like if a mother, if a woman is pregnant, she should only eat prasadam. That way the body of her baby was made by prasadam. And so already the child is sanctified. And secondly, we know that there is something called prenatal consciousness. In other words, a child in the womb of a mother can be educated if the mother is always listening to lectures given by genuine devotees. The mother is always chanting Hare Krishna. The mother, of course, is eating only prasadam. But the child can be educated, and by the time the child is pushed out of the womb of the mother, he or she is already a devotee because they heard all the teachings that the mother received, and therefore they're naturally devotees. And they've been purified by the fact that the mother only eats prasadam, and the mother is always listening to lectures by genuine teachers or Vaishnavas, and so forth. So the power of transcendental sound is something we should study and understand. It's not mundane. When you chant Hare Krishna, it's not a mundane vibration. It is that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is coming down from the spiritual world. It's not coming up. It's not like, the latest new song made up by some hillbilly or something. It's something that's coming down from the spiritual world. So this Hare Krishna mantra is transcendental sound vibration that's coming down from the spiritual world. And now it's a benediction for those people who really want to make spiritual progress and who want to protect their family and live a peaceful life. So you begin to surround yourself with transcendental mantra that will protect you and your family if you do it. And plus, you only eat food that has been offered first to Krishna, and then sanctified, and then given back to you. So 2 simple things, and both are related to the tongue. First thing, eat only prasadam. Second thing, chant Hare Krishna. So simply by using your tongue correctly, you can have a happy and prosperous life and go back to Godhead. See, the tongue, there's a saying in my language that the tongue uh, can be twisted any way it wants because it doesn't have a bone, right? So you can twist it so you tell the truth, or you can twist it to lie, right? Because there's no bone in the tongue. Uh, so if you use and what I just said, you can be liberated with your tongue by simply eating prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna, Haribol. Yeah. So we should all realize how important it is to use our tongue correctly and not engage it in nonsense activities, like talking nonsense, gossiping. Oh, this one did that, and that one did this, and that. You shouldn't even listen to gossip. You should only hear transcendental sounds that are coming from the spiritual world. Number one transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Srimati Radharani, that's Hare. And O Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and O Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, please protect me so I can always serve you. That's the meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. There are a lot of different mantras in the world. There are mantras. I once met this one Hindu gentleman. He had a book like this of mantras. He said, he told me, I have a mantra for anything you want. You want to kill somebody, you want someone to, fail in their business. He said he went through a little list of things that he could do with his mantras. Now, is that true? It is true. It is true. If they know how to say the mantras correctly, they're able to do those type of things. But fortunately, in Kali Yuga, none of these priests can say the mantras correctly. Thank God, because they can kill you with mantra. And that's what was happening in the past. If you read the history of the past, there were people who were so powerful that they could control other people. They could control parts of nature with mantras. Right? And we have examples of that even now in modern times. There are certain fakirs, or they're usually Muslims. They can heal a snake bite by mantra. Okay, they don't need a medicine. They can actually do it with mantra. So mantras, if said properly, are very powerful. But the only mantra that we can actually say, let's say, with in this age of Kali, is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So, simply by using your tongue, you eat only prasadam, and you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It'll solve all your problems, and you'll go back to Godhead. That's how simple it is, right? You don't have to buy some expensive type of machine to help you go back to Godhead, or to help you do this or that. You have the machinery in your body already. It's called a tongue. And the tongue, it has two functions that will liberate you and protect you. You chant Hare Krishna, you'll be protected. And you eat only prasadam, you'll be not only protected, but also go back to Godhead. That's how simple success is. If you want to be successful and not be complicated, and write big books about all different diets and different strategies to increase the longevity of life, it's all nonsense. Nobody's going to increase the longevity of life. Believe me, everybody's lives are limited by a certain number of breaths that we take. That's why yogis who learn how to stop their breath can live for 400, 500 years, because they stop breathing. Now, how do they stop breathing? They learn the technique. Now, don't try this technique, because if you make a mistake, you die. The technique is you swallow your tongue. So you close the ability of breathing. So you hold the ingoing breath and the outgoing breath by swallowing your tongue and closing the other 9 holes of the body. No, there are 8 holes of the body. There are 9 holes in total. And you don't get old anymore. You don't have to eat. But that is a very high level of yoga. That's very dangerous also because you can make mistakes. So don't try it, and definitely don't try and swallow your tongue because you will die. But that's what yogis do, and they can live 400, 500 years, maybe even longer sometimes. And where are these yogis? Well, you'll see them maybe every 12 years at Kumbh Mela in India. They'll come down from the Himalaya mountains where they live. And, it's not easy to live in the Himalayas because in wintertime it's freezing cold, but they're able to, and when I say they, we're not talking about, hundreds and thousands of people. There's only a few people that can do this, live in the Himalayas in the wintertime. It's like freezing cold the whole time. And they don't have any heaters, Even if you go, if you go to in the Himalayas for a vacation, but you get there, let's say in the wintertime, they don't have heaters in the hotels. It's cold, really cold. You have to have a lot of clothes to keep yourself warm. Okay, so today's lesson is about Yoginam apisarvesam mad gatanantarakmanam shadamam bhajateyu samayuktatomo matak. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me meaning Krishna, right? Thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. That's Krishna's opinion. So this word yoga has become, basically hijacked by false yogis to think it's only some type of an exercise for health. That's not the purpose of yoga. The purpose of yoga is to control your mind and senses so you can be thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, and that way you can go back to Godhead. It's to liberate you from the cycle of birth and death. It's not to build your abs or your muscles or to increase your duration of life. And so those are all phony, what you would call narratives by nonsense people who are just interested in making money. Right? So if you're interested in increasing your lifespan, well then chant Hare Krishna, and you will be eternal. Now we're already eternal, but we're stuck in this cycle of birth and death. So by becoming a genuine devotee of Krishna, you're liberated from the cycle of birth and death. You go back to Godhead in your eternal body. Okay, I'll stop right there. Are there any questions you would like to ask? Any questions that you've never got a proper answer for? Any comments you would like to make? Any confessions you would like to make? Go ahead. Well, how do they? First of all, they have to have help. There was this one lady, I'm forgetting her name right now. She was so-called deaf and dumb. Okay, so you're going to give that to the, yeah. She was so-called deaf and dumb. Like she couldn't, she was not able to hear or see. So that's considered deaf and dumb, right? Right. What? Yeah, that lady. Yeah. She wrote books. Right. What's your name? Anyway, she was writing books and she learned how to communicate. She had a teacher. Teacher her taught her how to communicate, even though she couldn't see, she couldn't hear. Right. And so there are examples like that, where even though you, some of your, vital, let's say, senses are not functioning, still you can be trained to overcome that. You know. So imagine now you're not deaf or dumb. I'm not deaf or dumb, right? And we have a powerful instruments called the tongue. Helen Keller, yes, yeah. She's a very famous lady. You should look her up and read about her. She's a very, very, high level person that overcome her severe, handicaps and became a lady who was writing books and was, let's say, very well known and respected. You have a question? Yeah, go ahead. Almost every household now is engaged in bad actions. Well, I was born into a family that, meat eating family. And when I was 16, if you told me not to eat meat, I would have just laughed at your face for about half an hour. But when I met my spiritual masters, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and his devotees, and I realized, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to eat meat anymore. I'm not going to engage in illicit sex. I'm not going to engage in anything sinful anymore. Meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication. And since that time, I've had a very happy life and a successful life. What's it mean, successful? I chant Hare Krishna. I eat only prasadam. I always am involved in spiritual activities. I don't have to work hard anymore because Krishna has blessed me to have a minimalist life without all the tension and stress that people have today working in the what you call what do you call that in companies, corporate, yeah, the corporate tension, I don't have that. And by the way, I never worked for anyone in my life. I always had my own businesses, but even I've given that up. And so you don't have to be, let's say, involved in what's considered traditional types of employment, traditional types of education. The best education is to learn how to please Krishna. And the main, let's say, way you do that is before you perform any action, you ask yourself this question: will Krishna be pleased by this or not pleased? And therefore, if you can't figure it out whether he'll be pleased or not, then you ask a genuine devotee, a genuine sadhu. I'm thinking of, blowing up the Empire State Building. Will Krishna be pleased by it or not pleased by it? Well, that's an easy thing. He said, no, don't do it. Krishna will not be pleased by it. But there are situations where we can't really figure out whether what I'm thinking of doing is actually the right thing or the wrong thing. That's when you ask a genuine devotee. Like many times, people have come up to me and they said, Prabhu, I think I'm going to have to move out of Seattle. I lost my job and I'm having a tough time finding another job. And so I might have to move away from Seattle. I said, well, if you want to stay in Seattle because this is where you learned about Krishna consciousness, and this is a place where you can easily practice it. Like, and many people live close to the temple. Sometimes they can just walk to the temple, or there's just a very short drive to the temple. So it's very easy to be Krishna conscious here, right? Sometimes you might be in a place, let's say you get a job in Alabama, right? I don't know if there are any temples there. I'm sure there's some devotees there, but there's no temples, right? So to get to the nearest temple, you might have to drive for about 5 to 10 hours, right? But here, it's very easy to come to the temple, especially since we have a temple in Bellevue. You can reach Bellevue from any part of the Seattle area, you know. So it's very, very convenient. So we have to make a decision. Should I leave Seattle and get a job somewhere else where there are jobs, or should I stay in Seattle and keep trying to find a job, although there are not so many jobs? Well, what I've advised people that were in that type of dilemma, I said, look, you just chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds a day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Don't ask Krishna, please let me have my job. Just chant purely without asking anything, and Krishna will help you. There was this one man, he came to me. His wife came to me first, and she said, I want to talk to you. My husband Ram is going to lose his job, and so many people are being laid off in his company. Can you talk to him, and is there anything you can do to help him? I said, okay, I'll talk to him. So she brought her husband. His name was Ram. And I said, look, do you know how to chant Hare Krishna? He said, I've heard it. I said, but do you know how to chant it? He said, no. I said, well, you should chant it. And that way, if you're sincere, Krishna will help you. So he actually started doing that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So at that time, there in this company, the company was laying off workers, right? So in the section where he was working, everybody was fired except him. It was like, a miracle. And eventually, after a couple months, his wife came to see me again, and I said, well, how's Ram doing? She said, he's still got his job. I don't know what you told him to do, but it's worked, But because he didn't get fired, he stopped chanting Hare Krishna. So that's not good, because we shouldn't use Hare Krishna chanting like you use a light bulb. Light bulb, you can turn it on and you can turn it off, right? That's not nice to do, especially if Krishna answers your and solves your problems. You don't, you turn on the chanting, and then when everything's going all right, you turn it off. You have to be chanting all the time. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai. Hari Bol. We should be chanting the holy names of Krishna all the time, because anytime we can die. We don't know. We can be an accident. So many different things can go wrong. So therefore, this chanting of Hare Krishna is very important. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. You see, everybody can do this. Children can do it. Older people can do it. Younger people can do it. It's very simple. It's 3 words basically: Hare Krishna and Rama. And Hare is referring to Srimati Radharani. Krishna is the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Rama is another name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you're chanting all God's names, and you're going to be protected. Krishna is going to, in every way, help you, give you intelligence to make the right decisions in your life, protect you from all kinds of dangers, and make sure that even if you're having difficulty, he will protect you in the worst situations. So, if you want to have a real insurance policy, chant Hare Krishna, best insurance policy. It's better than anything you can buy from an insurance company. And by the way, they don't have insurance that can protect you from dying, protect you from getting accidents and so forth. They can help you. If there's an accident, they can help you with some money, but they're not going to help you protected from the accident. So the best insurance policy we can have is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Now let's say you're a young kid and you're going to school and there's a bully in the school. And every time he sees you, he punches you, right? What are you going to do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. There was this one Muslim guy, he was a friend of mine, and he had a table that he would set in Berkeley, California, and he would sell, some types of jewelry and things, right? And I became friends with him. He was a Muslim, but we became friends. How did I become friends with him? Well, he was on near the University of California in Berkeley, and every time I would walk past his table, I would say Hare Krishna. And he said, "Hey, I'm a Muslim. Don't tell me about your false god." He was like really adamant. But one day, he came to the temple, knocked on the door. I opened up, and I looked at him, and I said, Hare Krishna. He said, "Stop it. You're making me crazy by saying this. Every time you say it, you say Hare Krishna." And that's the first time he said Hare Krishna. So I said, "Then why did you come here?" He said, "Oh, I want to talk to you." I said, "Okay, what is it?" He said, I am selling, jewelry in Berkeley, near the university. And also, sometimes these shaitani people come. Now, shaitan means devils, right? He said, they come. So one will stand on this side, the other one will stand in front of me, the other one will stand on that side. And then the man here would say, "Well, how much is this?" And I would look there, and then the guy over here would steal something. So I said, "Well, okay, but why are you talking to me?" "Well, I want to tell you something," he said. "Now when the shaitani people come, I start saying, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And it scares them and they go away." He said, "Now I realize your God is more powerful than my God." This is a true story. He was a very nice man. And he didn't, stop being a Muslim, but he would regularly come to the temple and do service, because he recognized the power of the holy name. So, my dear friends, chant Hare Krishna, and Krishna always protect you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. If there are any questions, you can ask them now. If not, have a very good sleep tonight and wake up early and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, go to Premanande. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Thank you very much.